Welcome to the border of Wiltshire and Somerset. I'm not quite sure whether we've actually crossed the border or not. We've come down to King Alfred's Tower, and this is one of the few days of the year where the sun lines up perfectly with the strip of land that the tower is on. I'll try and download a Google map and show you the layout there. Now, the day that the sun sets directly behind the tower was actually a couple of days ago, and I wasn't able to get down here at that time. But actually, I'm hoping that it's gone round just far enough that as the sun sets, assuming we get the clear weather that I'm hoping for, we might get a sun star. So, going to get my camera, lock up Betty, and head off for a bit of a walk. Let's go. Well, there's King Alfred's Tower, and you can see this strip of grass going towards it is lined up with where I hope the sun will set this evening. The sun is actually quite bright at the moment, which makes it really difficult to get any kind of shot just now. I think my best bet is to go and sit and have a cup of coffee for a while and come back out a bit closer to actual sunset. The van's not too far, fortunately, so it's just a little bit of a walk from the car park over to here. So we're a good bit closer to sunset now. Sun's actually gone down quite low, and it's directly behind the tower at the moment. So I'm just going to grab a couple of shots. I'm definitely going to have to bracket because it's very dark on this side, very, very bright on the sky. So let's just see what we can do here. I'm at f14, and that was 1/4 of a second for the tower. And the sky is obviously very overblown, so I'm going to just get the sky. Wow, that was a 2,000th of a second, still at f14. So, I'm definitely going to have to bracket. If that turns out any good, here it is. Well, I don't know if you can make it out, because obviously this little camera is doing its very best to balance everything. You can probably see some detail in the sky, and you can maybe see some detail in the tower, but not very much. So there's the entrance to the tower. It's all closed up at the moment. It's run by the National Trust. And there's the statue of King Alfred. Some repairs were done back in, I think it was the 80s, where they replaced, amongst other things, his right arm. And you really can't see the join. So, as you can see, there's a little bit of that golden sunlight on the tower. Unfortunately, these trees all around us are blocking it off. So this is about as good as it's going to get. As the sun gets lower, it's going to get more and more behind the trees and darken it. So this is about as good as I can manage. So let me just quickly set up and we can grab a shot. Somebody's flying a drone over the top at the moment, and it's not me, honest. Okay, still having to bracket because the sky is actually very bright at the moment. I've got a 60th of a second for the sky and a 10th of a second for the tower. You can't really see any kind of sunset glow on it, but the brickwork does stand out quite nicely. So once again, bracketed these, so I'm going to have to join them together once I get home. If the shot's any good, here's the shot. So I don't know whether you can actually make out, because this little camera really does spectacularly well in low light. But the sun has now set behind me, and I think it's time to head back to Betty. So that was King Alfred's Tower, built in the 1760s by a banker called Henry Hoare. I think, I'll check on that. Oh. It was built to commemorate the ascension of King George III, as well as the end of the 7 Years' War. It's now owned by the National Trust and looked after by them. I was hoping to park up here tonight, but I noticed when I got here there's a sign up, no overnight parking. So I'm going to have to go and find a park up. Well, here we are at the second location of the weekend. Found a nice quiet place to park up last night, well away from the main road. But my goodness, it was cold last night. So here I am at Stourhead. It's another National Trust property, and actually King Alfred's Tower is part of this whole managed estate. This one's quite famous for some of the follies. Now, King Alfred's Tower is described as a folly, but it stands out on its own, and as we go round the grounds here you'll see quite a number of follies. So it's just opening up now, it's just 9 AM. Let's head on down and see what we can see. Do you know, I just pulled in, car park's almost completely empty and there's space for several hundred cars here, and I'm just about to get ready to get my boots on, and somebody drives in and parks right next to me. And now I'm a little bit worried about throwing this bag on my back. I might hit the car with a tripod, so I'll put that on once I get past. So there's the first view of Stourhead. You see the lake, you see the old cross right in front. Beyond it, I think they call it the Palladian Bridge, something like that. And then far beyond, you've got one of the follies. And that one is the Pantheon, it's called. And this is a Bristol cross, apparently. It's quite a honeypot location scene, so I'm definitely going to grab one while I'm here. It's quite awkward to compose because I want to get all three of those things in the scene. I want the cross, I want the bridge, and I want the Pantheon. And there's quite a nice reflection on the Pantheon over the lake at the moment, which is interrupted by the bridge. So I'm never going to get a great one from here. But if I'm not careful, the cross cuts off the end of the bridge. And the bridge is hidden behind this low wall and the mound, but it might be okay. So, let's get the camera out and have a look. Well, looking at the histogram, on a 50th of a second. That's at F9. Let's head on down. You've got these snowdrops in the foreground. They're just beginning to turn now. Sadly, I should have been here a week or so ago, I think, with the bridge, and quite a nice reflection on that bridge at the moment. And most of the reflection on the Pantheon is hidden by that bush, but it's still there. So I'm just going to set up the camera, see if I can get a nice shot there. One of the things that Stourhead is famous for is its amazing collection of rhododendrons. And here they've got a winter flowering one, Christmas Cheer. Well, sadly the wind's got up even more and totally destroyed the reflection of the Pantheon now. Well, I'll just have to come back on a calmer day, won't I? So here we are at the Grotto, probably the most famous of the follies at Stourhead. Just looks like you're walking into a deep, dark cave. And you probably can't see, but there is a nice view of the Palladian Bridge across the water through this opening in the grotto, which I will try and shoot in a minute. Show you, I'm not sure, reclining Venus or something. So let's carry on through the grotto. And there's Neptune himself. Now, every time I come here, I just love this old cottage. I believe that back in the 18th century, when this estate was built, Henry Hoare, who built it all, built some of these sort of not quite follies for his groundskeeper to live in. I just love this. I like the leaded windows and the way it sort of slightly leans out. It's all just slightly off kilter. And a beautiful thatched roof. And here's the Pantheon in all its glory. There used to be a really nice view from here, but this tree's got a bit straggly. And the water level's a little bit low today as well. rain's just starting, but we've got most of the way round now actually. Well, we got to the far end, but we've walked alongside. I'm not so keen on the view of the Pantheon from this direction, and it's starting to rain. I'm supposed to clear up again, but we'll see. I'm just going to grab a quick shot at the Pantheon and then we'll head back to Betty. Well, I found just a little bit of shelter from the rain, really just a tree that's stopping it blowing into me. So, quick mouthful of coffee, see if this eases off a little bit, and head back to Betty. Because of the rain, I don't trust the Osmo Pocket 3 in the rain. I have heard, I've never encountered this, but I have heard its weather sealing is not great, and I just don't want to risk it. So I broke out the Action 3, which I know is waterproof. C'est la vie. Good coffee though. Thank goodness for AeroPress. Well, made it back to Betty, despite the rain. So, well, I hope you enjoyed our little walk around Stourhead. There are two walks here. There's the one we did, which is the short walk, 1.7 miles, and it's supposed to take an hour. Well, it's just taken me 2.5 hours, so that must mean that I spent an hour and a half taking pictures, or vlogging. And the longer walk, I can't remember what the distance is, but it's supposed to take, I think, an hour and a half, and it's the original walk that Henry Hoare designed the gardens around. So, that's it for Stourhead. That's it for the follies in the southern part of Wiltshire. King Alfred's Tower and all of the follies round Stourhead. So it's time to head home. I got about an hour, hour and a half's drive. I would say an hour in the car with no traffic. Goodness only knows how long it'll take in Betty, with however much traffic there is today. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.